They say money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy NIL stuff, and you need that to get players, and that sort of thing is important, right? I don't know. We'll have to hear from Brent Key.
You are Locked On Georgia Tech, your daily podcast on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another episode of Locked On Georgia Tech. I'm one of your hosts, Caleb Johnson. Taking this daily journey covering the Yellow Jackets alongside me is my co-host, Jarvis Davis. I want to start off by saying thank you for making Locked On Georgia Tech your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you download your podcast, and wherever you go to download those podcasts, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. Anything less than a 5-star review, and I wish you downtown Atlanta traffic at 5 o'clock in the evening anytime you come through the downtown area. I'm sorry, it's just the case. It's how I feel. Give us that 5-star review, and give us, put the comments in the YouTube videos so we can, see how you're feeling about the team. I think, Jarvis, that this is going to be an episode that brings in a lot of comments and conversation just because of what Brent Key decided to do on Thursday. Locked On Georgia Tech is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on the show, we're going to get into why is Bobby Dodd hosting Georgia Tech versus Tennessee next year? Is Brent Key trying to get a raise? But first, you've probably seen the video out there of what happened Thursday morning when Brent Key decided to take the podium and talk to the media as he, is dealing with a bye week and a lot of questions getting asked about, is he going to stay at Georgia Tech? And so the real question is Brent Key leaving the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets? Is he going to take one of these open jobs that's out and available? And I mean, Jarvis, it feels like he made his thoughts pretty clear.
Yeah, and I think to answer your question, short answer, hell no, that man ain't going nowhere. Because let me tell you, man,
just like that.
Right? Yeah, just like that, straight like that. I can get away with at least saying at least once. I won't say it anymore for all the kids out there listening. But I think that just being down there in that press conference and getting a chance to interact and talk with Coach Key, you get the feel of authenticity. It's and one thing about that I feel like I've been gifted from God is to be able to pick up on vibes from people, specifically coaches. A lot of times I can really tell, like the snake oil salesman, I can really pick up on that pretty quickly. I can tell who's a snake oil salesman. Lane Kiffin comes to mind when I think that, you know what I mean? So just being there today and talking to Coach Key and just getting just how he runs things and how he just walks around that school. He's a tech man through and through. Like I feel like this is his dream job. So what he said today, he wasn't trying to sell you anything. He wasn't trying to, make it seem like it was one way when it actually not. And somebody calls him and say, "Hey man, we're willing to offer you $8 million." Now, grown man got to at least have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I honestly believe that Coach Key would not go anywhere if these schools come calling.
And we'll talk a little bit later in the show, obviously, about the money aspect side of these things, because that is a real aspect. That's the Jarvis. We're both married, man. That's you got to go home to the wife and say, okay, let's talk about this and have that discussion. Mm-hmm. But I think when people start looking at why a coach would want to leave and take a different job, there's kind of just a couple of things that are typically what you look for. It is hey, I'm about to make, 4 times as much as I was making before, or whatever it might be the case. Or it's also resources. It is, what is the school that I'm at putting into their athletic facility? What are they putting into the players as NIL has continued to grow? And that's why I started off the show of, they say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy players. And that's the reality of college football now, is that you are constantly battling with other schools trying to, spend your money wisely and pick up the best talent. And so if the infrastructure is a disaster, if you are, I don't know, maybe in the state of Louisiana and you don't have a president at your school and your athletic director is apparently unable to make real decisions and is on his way out, and you have the governor stepping in and making decisions, then maybe that's a situation you don't want to be a part of, so I think it's the infrastructure has got to be there. You've got to have an athletic director who is on the same page with you. And then, Jarvis, is the very thing you mentioned there as this being a dream job for Brent Key. What do we see every single time a job comes open, especially in the power four, that you see out there is you go to who is the hot coach right now, or you go to who is a guy that's his alma mater and he might want to go home, because clearly that's what's being done with the Penn State job, and looking over at Nebraska and saying, oh, Matt Rule, maybe you want to go home. And so it's the unique position that Brent Key is in, that he lucked his way in a sort, but also very much earned his way into pretty much out of the gate, getting his first opportunity to coach his alma mater. And everyone has that pride of where you went to school, wanting to see it get better.
And when you think about it, Caleb, I think that's the big point. That's the big factor here, right? Because when you talk about the openings, all these openings, right? Have you heard the head coach's name up the street in the red and black? Have you heard his name being down the road? Oh, they want to talk to him. They want to give him a call. You know why you haven't heard it? Because he's at his job. That's his job.
His home.
And I feel like Brent Key is in the same situation. He's at his job, so he has no reason for his name to be bantied around and all that stuff. Like, because I feel like this job is for him too. It's a match made in heaven, man. Like, just how comfortable he is, just how touchable he is. Like, because I've covered some college football coaches, and trust me, they don't allow you to get that close. Like, Brent Key is a guy that will come over to you and talk to you and how you doing, man? What's going on? And like, he's just that type of guy. He's one of those guys. And I think that to be growing up in Atlanta, I've always felt that from this school. I always felt like Tech has those type of vibes, right? It's not like for just one subset of folks. And hey, you can be a part if you want to, but we gotta check you out first. Nah, they're all welcoming, all open arms, like, come on in. And that's what you feel when you're at Tech, and that's what I feel when I'm around Coach Key.
And I think, Jarvis, not to throw the previous head coach of this institution under the bus, but
you can. Yeah, back that bus up, man.
Isn't that a big reason why Jeff Collins was shown the door, apart from not winning? But it was like created this whole culture that had oh man, we're gonna be cool, and we got the Waffle House, and come hang out with us because we're hip and cool, kind of thing. And it was one of those things that I think you wanted to believe it. You saw it and you were like, all right.
And the only reason you wanted to believe it, though, let's keep it funky.
Yep.
We'll keep it funky on this show. Only reason you wanted to believe it because Paul Johnson was the coach of him. And, Paul Johnson was a howling at the moon type coach. You know what I mean? Like, but he can coach. He can coach butt off. He was a good coach. He did some good things, some really good things here at Georgia Tech, but he just wasn't the personable guy, that you would like a college coach to be. Because at the end of the day, I talked about the snake oil salesman. There has to be some sense of, I need you to like me. he got to have just a little bit. I'm not saying like overly, being fake with it, but I think there has to be some sense of, man, people got to walk away from you and say, man, I actually like him. You know what I'm saying? Because when you talk about, different initiatives going on at the school, you hear about full steam ahead. That's a $500 million fundraising initiative to help the athletics department compete for national championships. Like, again, you talk about having that backing, talking about getting NIL and all that stuff. That's what that means. You want to be able to have that support, and and they're supporting their own because Georgia Tech grad over there coaching this team. So
yeah, I think because you had Paul Johnson establish this program for so long, but then grow tired on a lot of people, and then the winning not being as consistent. Having Jeff Collins come in there and give you the oh man, we're gonna be hip and we're gonna be cool and we're gonna do it.
Waffle House, by the way. I mean,
Say what?
I love Waffle House. That's why I want to believe it. That was my reason why I want to believe it. Because I love Waffle House. Like, I love the Waffle House Cup. That was amazing. I love that. That is a great marketing employee. I love it. But again, you gotta win.
The substance has to come with that. And I think what's been so refreshing about Brent Key is that he's brought the substance and he doesn't have all the pomp and circumstance. And I think everyone's pretty cool with that. They much prefer a more blunt, down-to-earth, real type of guy, than someone who is coming with the flashy snake oil salesman thing that doesn't do it.
Yeah, man. It makes me smile. Makes me happy that you're using that term. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just hey, if the shoe fits, But coming up, Jarvis, I think there is one question that a lot of people are curious about, which is just simply, is Brent Key doing all this trying to get a raise? It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Georgia Tech, come on, guys, that was an easy one. Haynes King delivered in a big way, even though the Yellow Jackets didn't get the win over NC State. 511 total yards and 4 touchdowns last week. When the pressure was on, he came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance certainly was not a fluke. Haynes is on a streak. And just like Haynes delivered for Georgia Tech, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Okay, let's start here, Jarvis. Let's play the clip for the folks so they can see if they had been hiding under a rock, hadn't seen what Brent Key had to say about the interest in other jobs, and then we can maybe answer the question of, is this just some sort of ploy to get a raise?
It's flattering. It's flattering, but not for me. It's for this program. Since I came back here, since I was named the head coach here, Kelly, outside of the time with my family, every waking second of my life is going towards building this program to get to the point that it is right now. Right? So that in turn we can continue 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, continue to elevate this place. Right? To be in that conversation. Not to be in there for 2 or 3 weeks, but to be a consistent team. Not when you lose one game, people say, oh, the storybook's over. Nah, it's just beginning. I could go on and on. I could say yes, no, all that crap. Slice me open and see what colors I bleed.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just
ready to run through a brick wall around this thing. What my pads at?
How do you not want to play for that, man?
Man, like I'm fired up, man. Like there's no way I can listen to that clip and say, man, he's just saying this so he can doggone get a check, so either a school gonna call or Georgia Tech like, hey man, don't be trying to, sell yourself and who you are as a coach to another team. We need to give you this bag. Now, I don't think that what that was at all. I think it was like I said, I was in the room, I was there, I was looking them in the eye, like, I mean, I trust my judgment. Y'all might not trust because y'all don't really know me like well, you know what I'm saying? But, once you get to know me, you understand.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty straight shooter, and I can recognize another one when I see one. And Brent Key is one. And I don't think that was a ploy. I believe that was him not really wanting to have these conversations. Him wanting to just, hey man, I'm trying to win some football games. I've been sitting on this L for about a week, and I'm ready to start prepping for Boston College. That's the vibe that I got from him when he was responding to this, because I don't think that he even feels comfortable. You look at the beginning of it. He was saying it was kind of flattering. You know what I'm saying? Not for me, but for the program. You know what I'm saying? Because you only interested in me because of what I've done with this tech squad, because the last guy, Jeff with a G, you can't never trust somebody who spells Jeff with a G.
Should have known.
Like, come on, we should have known that he was not the right guy for Georgia Tech. You spell Jeff with a G, who does that? Anyway, but yeah, I think that means they're only interested because of what he has going on and what he's trying to build here. So yeah, all that is all of these rumors and all this stuff flying around, and Penn State want to interview, whatever that is, whoever started that, he wish he could probably meet him in the back alley. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah, well, he also he kind of talked about it outside of this clip that's clearly, started to go viral. He talked about the fact that he's had a lot of people reaching out to him recently that he was like, man, I haven't heard from some of these people in like 5 years. And you're like, why are they reaching out to me? Right. Oh, then it hits. And you're like, I'm the the new it girl, essentially. Like, all the boys at school are looking at me. And so it's the dealing with the popularity that I'm sure you can, as you mentioned, like Brent Key is probably not exactly used to. He was the offensive lineman. Like, no, that's not
get no love. Off the field.
They don't get any love.
They get married first.
That's
a position group that get married first. The offensive line, they get married first. Now.
Yeah. There's
another joke, but I ain't gonna keep that one. I ain't gonna bring that out yet. Yeah. Get a few more shows in before I start doing it. Yeah.
There is a loyalty that I think is there, and it's just a different position than anyone else on the football field. And for Brent Key, I think he also coaches in a different way than anyone else, where I could see him looking at it going, oh, if you only want me because I'm the new it thing in college football, no, like, want me because of, what I am building. But I'm sure it's also too for him, he's not looking to go to the new thing when he has got something great, that there is relationships there. I mean, there is so many ties when you're coaching for your alma mater. But on the money side of this, Jarvis, I think this is where people wonder, is he going to see the money and go, man, I mean, this is a different level than what I'm dealing with at Georgia Tech. The man just signed a contract extension last December where I think he's making like $4.1 million.
4.5.
Okay.
It's 4.5.
And it goes up by, I believe, 150 grand or 100 grand every season for like the next few years. The interesting thing was in that clip, Jarvis, he's out there doing the LeBron thing in Miami, where not 1 year, or not one championship, not two, not three. Like, he's talking about 5-10 years down the road being at Georgia Tech, which, obviously has the remnants of Paul Johnson. And I think for a lot of fans, if you can have that consistency, and know what you're building, I mean, that helps big time in recruiting outside of the NIL stuff, because yes, there are going to be the guys in college football who are looking for the bag. And a lot of the times you can't necessarily blame them. But for the guys who are like, I want to go somewhere and build with a program and build into a championship contender, I feel like there is no better marketing than what Brent Key has done as of late. And so the money that, Auburn being a job that's like 6.7 million, Penn State being a job that's in the $8 million range doesn't feel enticing enough. At least it doesn't appear for him to really be interested.
Yeah, man. And when you look at it, you talk about the money, looking at the numbers, like, so, of course, Dabo Swinney is the highest paid coach at 11.4 million. Bill Belichick is right behind him at 10.1. Then you got Mario Cristobal at 8.3.
Crazy they got Bill
Yes.
Belichick at
Right.
10.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Pat Narduzzi at 7.2, Dave Dorn at 6, Jeff Brum at 5.9, Mike Norvell at 5.6, Justin Wilcox at Cal at 4.8. That's interesting. Jake Dicker at Wake Forest, 4.8. That's interesting.
Right.
Brent Pry at 4.7, and he was fired. He don't have a job now. He's not working there anymore. So, hey, man, if a guy gets fired from his job, hey, man, can I get 4.7?
Right.
I get a little bump, just a little bit, get into the college football playoffs at the end of the year. Like, hey, man, bring me up to about 4.7, man, so I can feel a little bit, so my wife can remodel the bathroom or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's all. That's it. That's how I feel like Brent Key would be, because it's not out of the norm, like you mentioned earlier, for guys before the show, for guys to get an extension after just signing one, right?
Yeah.
In December of 2024. So I feel like, man, Brent Key is the guy that it wants to be here. I don't think he's out here having his own marketing schemes to try to get a raise. And I think that when that time comes for him to get a raise, he's going to get it, because Georgia Tech should take care of their own, and I believe they'll do that.
Yeah, it's one where you feel like they should just be handing over a blank check and letting Brent Key write in the number that he feels comfortable with, and you move forward from there, especially as you just mentioned, Jarvis, the other names like Bill Belichick and that disaster at North Carolina getting $10 million a year. But one more thing we want to get into in the show, and this is part of what I think Brent Key brings to Georgia Tech, is getting people to the stadium and having that pride in your home field advantage. Why is Bobby Dodd hosting Georgia Tech versus Tennessee next year? When the opening whistle blows on a new major repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Jarvis, we learned this week that Georgia Tech, instead of going and maybe getting an additional payout and having some neutral site for Georgia Tech, Tennessee in 2026, this home and home series is going to be a home and home series. Georgia Tech is going to play this game next year at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Why do you think, they're ultimately opting for this?
I mean, when you think about trying to build something, you want to, like, the first thing that comes to mind, you think about community, right? Like, you go to you think about where you are as a university. You think about what you're trying to do. Like from the football aspect of it, yeah, Brent Key wants to build something. How do you build something? You got to have a home field advantage. You got to get people to come to the games. How do you get people to come to the games? Win.
Yeah.
You know, and once you start winning, then you can get that home field advantage. Then you can get, hey, you coming to our house. Like we built this house, you know, if I can quote Prime, you know,
Right.
you know, those are some of the things that a college atmosphere has. And can I be honest for a second? There ain't no vibes in Mercedes-Benz.
No.
Ain't no vibes there. Ain't no vibes there. You know, the other people come in the stadium, they'll travel there because they're used to playing over there. You know, the SEC championship. Yeah. Y'all used to playing there. But you can't build what you're trying to build playing over there. So I'm glad that they reached out to the season ticket holders and said, hey, what do you guys think? We can have all 7 home games be played at Bobby Dodd. And guess what? I think more 75% of the people said yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Brent Key was very happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's what Georgia Tech decided as a university is very similar to, I think, what Brent Key has in front of him with this coaching decision, which is, are you going to take the money or are you going to take what makes you happy? And, you know, for Brent Key, it's staying at Georgia Tech because he's home and this is happy. For Georgia Tech, it's literally staying home at Bobby Dodd Stadium.
There's no place like home.
Yeah. And instead of understanding that there is a nice payday, like this whole new thing that they've done with Georgia and Georgia Tech being played, you know, and the sponsorship that comes with that, the whole Invesco thing that's happening with that. It's both universities understanding money can be made on this opportunity. And hey, maybe you try something that, you know, benefits the universities and all that sort of thing. But ultimately, it is, you know, what do you talk about when Michigan is playing at home, when Penn State is playing at home, when LSU is playing at home? What are all of these schools? It is that home field advantage. It is the crowd getting into it and playing a true role. And this isn't the days of old of Jeff Collins in that sad Ole Miss game where literally the student section was the only fans left in that building outside of media, you know, a few years back. Like, this is the benefit of having Brent Key come into this new program, is that, you know, you can say we choose the home field advantage. I thought, you know, director of athletics, Ryan Alpert, like he said it best when he put that message out on social media that Tech fans spoke, we listened. And so having a big game like Tennessee at home, it just feels crucial to what this program is building.
Absolutely. And that's the main thing. When not only you have it from the coach, when you have it from the person who is overseeing the coach and what he's doing and making sure he's doing what he's supposed to. So the athletic director and the head coach are on the same page, in my eyes, just based off of stuff like this. Things like that. Being able to say, hey, we want to get the feedback from you all. That's community. They're building a community. The more you build community, the more people feel involved. The more people feel involved, the more they want to spend their money. You know, they want to come to the games and they want to, oh yeah, can we get a little donation or something? Oh yeah, no problem. You know, like it's all of it is authenticity. You know, getting people involved, building a community. All those things add up to an environment that people want to be a part of, and that's the ultimate goal when you're talking about building a program.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech every time will take donor money over advertising dollars any day of the week, because what the donors want is winning. What the advertisers want is market us and
ROI.
help. Yeah. It feels almost, you know, silly because it's just that simple, and yet it feels like a lot of times schools can overlook all these sorts of things. That's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Georgia Tech. We'll be back with you next week for a full slate of 5 episodes, as that will be getting ready for a Boston College game that, man, that head coach up there, rough times. I
Yes.
mean, hey,
Interesting.
Jarvis, I'm glad that we're here and going and covering Brent Key, because a much more polite relationship with the media. We're not getting yelled at by the head coach, and that can't be said for the same people who are covering Boston College right now. Though we want to make sure you subscribe on YouTube, and leave us a comment, like it, the whole bit. Anywhere you listen to podcasts for free, also subscribe to us as well. Give us a follow on social media. We're building new social media channels with Locked On Georgia Tech. Look us up on YouTube and on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, all those sorts of things. Also follow Jarvis and I on social media. He is at Jarvis D90. I'm at ATL Johnson 18. Thank you for making Locked On Georgia Tech your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On ACC. Kenton Gibbs and Alex Donna break down the most interesting conference in college sport, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On ACC on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. For Locked On Georgia Tech, y'all have a good one.